Welcome to T Academy. I'm Tarek Merchant, and today I want to talk to you about athletic scholarships. So this one topic is interesting because it can get confusing very quickly. It's also extremely misunderstood, and a lot of people have a rough time understanding the concept, which is acceptable because it can change sport to sport, it can change division and league, it can change for a number of reasons, and I'm going to go through some of these important aspects to help you understand more about the scholarships. And I think if you understand the general concept here and know some numbers, then you can easily navigate it and figure out how much money you can earn and what's feasible based on what the college coaches give you. So let's get into it. All right, so every sport has different scholarship amounts, okay? So let's take some examples here. Let's go male. We're gonna write male and female. Okay? So everybody says, well, men's sports, they don't give many scholarships. Women's sports, oh, everyone can get a full ride. I mean, that's subjective. It depends on your level. So if you're a male, there could be anything from full scholarships all the way down. Same thing with females. Now, this all depends on your level, okay? So if I am a Division I female athlete, and let's just use an example of, volleyball, okay? So I'm a female volleyball, and I'm playing D1 versus D2 versus D3, NAIA, and junior college, okay? Now I don't have the exact paper in front of me right now because I don't even want to go exact statistics. I want you guys to understand the concept. So I'm going to make up these numbers right now, but it's going to give you the concept so you can apply it to any sport. So it's kind of like figuring out a math equation and saying, okay, if I know the equation, then I can really apply it to any number, right? So let's just say volleyball, these are the divisions. And so what the statistics you're going to get, and I'm going to share this statistics with you guys in the link below, is it's going to say for D1, women's volleyball, there's 8, let's say eight scholarships. Here there's 6. Let's just say here there's 0. Here there's 6 again, and over here there's 8 again. Okay, so everybody has to know, and I've made a video about this earlier, that Division III doesn't offer athletic scholarships. So we're just going to eliminate Division III from this conversation. Let's stick with D1, D2, NAIA, and junior college. So in Division I, if we're saying there's 8 scholarships, if that's what the statistics says on the NCAA site, that means this is these are 8 scholarships for fully funded schools, fully funded schools. Not every school is fully funded. So if you have a D1 program, you can't just say, oh, that school's D1, they have 8 full scholarships to divvy out to the players on the team. No, only if they're fully funded. So how do you find that out? Well, there are some statistics here and there that tell you, but again, you have to find out from the coach. But if you don't, they can have anything all the way down to 0. The same thing applies for Division II, the same thing applies for NAIA, the same thing applies for junior colleges, and down. So I think I actually put the female over there by accident, but that's okay, you guys understand the concept. And the same thing will apply for the men, but let's just throw that down here. So let's say that they've got something similar as well, but slightly different. So D1, 6, D2, 4, we're not doing D3, NAIA, 6 again, and then the NJCAA, Let's say we have 6 again. So same thing applies. Whether you're men or women, that doesn't matter. Now, one thing that does matter is head count. So I'm going to use this terminology called head count right now, and I'm just going to put it right here. If you play a sport that has a head count on the scholarships, what that means is that every person, if there's 6 full scholarships, for example, every person has to get a full scholarship. They can't divide those scholarships up. So they have to give it for each head person, and that's a head count sport. If not, then they can divide those scholarships as much as they want. If there are more players on the roster, they can be giving it to dividing the scholarship amount however they like. 10% for one player, 90% to another, that's one scholarship, and then et cetera, et cetera. So that's strictly up to the coach. Head counts, they have to give one to each person. So another thing that people need to understand is that although this information is great, and that's where people start saying, well, hey, it's easy for women's tennis, for example. They have 8 scholarships at the fully funded schools, and it's a head count. Everybody gets a full ride. Well, again, how many of those schools are fully funded? How many of them, in each division can offer that kind of money? It definitely varies. The highest of the highest level, yes, there are full scholarships available for pretty much every sport, but it's not as common as you think. So aside from the head count, we also need to look at the fact that there aren't scholarships full for everybody. And even if they say that's the case, the question really becomes is how much scholarship for me. How much money am I going to get? Who cares if the team has 6 scholarships, 8 scholarships, 12 scholarships, 10 scholarships? How much money is there in for me, for my specific grad year, and how much are you willing to give me? And then I really care. So knowing these numbers means something because it gives you the idea of the concept when you're talking with coaches and they're trying to explain to you how much money is available and what they can offer you and what they think you're worth. But in the end, you really care about what's available to you. Because if there's, let's say, a non-headcount sport and they can divvy up that money however they want, but they want to give you 90%, well, then that's great. And another player wants a scholarship from that same school, but they're only willing to give them 10%. It doesn't matter that there's a full scholarship available. It depends how much they're actually wanting to give to you. So that's what you should be really worried about. You shouldn't be making judgments on there's 6 there, so they don't have as much, and there's 10 at another school, so they have more. You never know what they're willing to give you, so you really just need to investigate and find out what's available. So, athletic scholarships they're difficult to get. There's a lot of people that want them. Every sport has a different number of scholarships. Every school and division not only has a different number, but depending on if they have the max scholarship amounts or not, if they're fully funded or not. You will find a lot of Division I schools that are and aren't, Division II that are and aren't, and et cetera, et cetera. It's about finding how much money is available for you and not trying to make assumptions just based on the numbers you see. Another thing that people say is the number of seniors that are graduating. These are all, okay, so there's, let's just put it in here. Seniors graduating. Oops. Pardon. A lot of people over here, they say, oh, there's 4 seniors graduating. They're going to have a lot of money. Could be the case, probable, good educated guess, but not a guarantee. Again, for me, I'm not too worried about the statistics. I worry a little bit about them. I know about that. So if I know they're graduating seniors, good to know. If I know they're fully funded, really good to know. If I know they're a headcount sport, great to know. Like that's where you know for a fact if they're a headcount that they have to offer you, let's say, the full ride. But aside from that, those numbers and assumptions are there to help you understand it a little bit better, but in the end, it doesn't give you the result that you want. The result you really want is, do you want me? If you do, how much money are you willing to give me? And then the rest really doesn't matter to you. It just matters how much they're able to give you. And then you can start deciding whether those schools are options or not. So I hope that was a good little overview on athletic scholarships. There's a lot to cover on this topic. This is a start. This gets you to understand, what the numbers mean, knowing not to put too much emphasis on the numbers, understanding head count, how much money there is for you, which is really what you're looking for. Looking at how many seniors may be graduating to know how much money might be freed up. But look, the number one way I help thousands of athletes a year, for me, I don't assume. I go straight to the coach, I figure out what's available for that player, I put it down, and I work upon those numbers, and I start to figure out what that player's worth is.